Hey everybody, and welcome to today's SiteSwan Ask Me Anything coaching session. I'm very excited to do this with you. I look forward to these the entire week, or in this case, 3 weeks since we did the last one. And we got a lot of great questions that came in. We got a lot of great people here, 30 of you so far, and that number is climbing. Let's start off the way we normally do. I want everyone to find the questions tab on the bottom, the question mark inside of a circle, and I want you to give me one win. Give me something good that's happened in your web design business since the last time we did one of these, or if you've never been on one before, give me a win you've had at any point in time. It could be a prospect you got, a connection you made, a site you sold, several sites you sold, whatever it is. I would love to hear it because our whole purpose here is to help you guys sell more sites, be more successful, make more money. And that is what we're all here to root each other on to do, help each other do. And as one of you put it, I think it was Sammy, with your question earlier, you're like, hey, I don't even know if I got a question, but what did you write? Let me just see. You wrote, where is it? Well, I had it. Yeah, he wrote, I'm looking forward to attending today's coaching session. Even when I don't have questions of my own, I learned so much from what others ask. This is just another great example of the great value SiteSwan provides. Much appreciated. We appreciate you, Sammy. So let's see what you guys got here. So Ryan sold a junk removal website to a guy in Las Vegas. Very nice. Mike got a referral for a new client from a current client. Yes, those are the best. Those are the best. You know what I actually want to do? I actually want to do like a video about how to handle referrals, because like unlike a typical client where you are chasing them or approaching them, the referral's coming to you. And like there's a slight tweak to how you have that conversation with them, but that's awesome that you got that. It's easier, but it's a slight tweak. So that's great. Steven got a referral and sold another site. All right, Steven, nice job. Ryan just clarifying, sold the junk removal guy website. Yes, that was we understood that, figured that was the case. Ken wrote a new deal this week. All right. What kind of website was it, Ken? Tammy. Hey, Tammy. Tammy has made it to her first goal of 50 websites sold. She started back in May. Tammy, congratulations. Everyone, let's give a little congrats to Tammy. Tammy, if you don't know, she looks like this. This is Tammy. She did an interview with me a couple of months ago and told her story of how she's was kind of pushed into doing this as part of her retirement efforts. So she's building up some recurring revenue in her retirement and doing a fantastic job. 50 sites. That is awesome. All right. Mike said, I was the one who requested the geriatric physician consultant theme to be made, and today I got a 215 demo from my buddy today. I think he'll love it. I think he'll love it too. That is great. And just so you guys know, let's talk about this real quick. So Mike's referring to this theme right here. So what exactly happened? Let me explain this for those of you who are new and don't understand. Mike had an opportunity to sell a website to a geriatric care consulting company. And he looked through our themes and said, oh, you don't got one. So he made a request to get one. Now, when you request a theme, it can take a while because, as you might imagine, there's a lot of requests. So we offer this thing where for $99, we will prioritize whatever theme it is you're requesting and make it happen very, very fast. So Mike did that. He put down $99 and he did it on behalf of everybody. Everyone can thank Mike for the opportunity now to sell websites to geriatric care consulting companies because this theme came out gorgeous. And Mike, I do agree, you'll have no problem getting that site sold. So everyone can give a thanks to Mike for footing the bill for that. And look, the last almost two or three dozen themes that we've had have all been folks saying, hey, I want mine prioritized, putting down that $99, making things happen. You invest in your own business to get the opportunities. That is a smart move. This microphone's in my face. Let's not do that. How about this? Good. Christy sold a new site last week to a cleaning service we've been talking with. That's awesome. Sammy has been able to charge one of his website clients more than $500 in one-time fees for additional services provided. Ooh, Sammy. In this case, he's saying custom forms. So correct me if I'm wrong, Sammy. What I'm hearing is that they want a custom form. You're going over to somewhere like Cognito Forms, which is, I'll show you in the dashboard. That's kind of like, it's become my favorite. In the resources section of your dashboard, if you scroll down to the marketplace, you are going to see a link, Cognito Forms. You can build custom forms to do pretty much anything you want them to do. And he sold a custom form to a client. This is a great add-on service. What does a custom form consist of? Maybe it's a job application. Maybe it's an event registration, something like that. And what's cool is you can assign payment to these forms also. So if you want to like charge for something where you're collecting information, you can do that. Ken's website opportunity. The new deal that he wrote was for coaching, Christian counseling. That's cool. Jason got his second site yesterday. All right, Jason, we are rooting you on for number 3. And Sammy's rooting on Tammy. Cool. All right, let's rock and roll. You guys came to the table with questions ahead of time, and I'm sure you're going to have more as we go. So, oh, look at this. Sammy's like, no, I'm an HTML ninja, and I am building my own forms. I created the forms myself and embedded them in an HTML snippet. Good for you, dude. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, so we got lots of questions that have come through. Not a lot, but enough to keep us busy for a while. So if you can think of something right now, type it in. Chances are I'm going to be able to get to it. So Sammy, you're always at the top of the line here in terms of volunteering your questions, volunteering your time, asking great questions, and participating. So I'm going to you first. So Sammy's saying, is there anything special? Oh, wait, hold on. I got a fancy new trick. I did this last time. It kind of sort of worked. Let's see if I can get it to work this time. There. All right. I hate that it's mirrored, though, so I can't read this on the screen. I got to look off to the side, which is annoying, but whatever. Sammy said, is there anything special about my marketing website as far as my account goes? The reason I ask is I want to revamp my site now that I have a few clients and a little more experience under my belt. So I plan on creating a new website using the digital marketing theme, working on it, and then when I'm ready to go live, changing the domain info so it points to my business domain. Any issues with that plan? So I find no actual issue with it. The question I would have for you, Sammy, is what makes you feel like you have to do this? Has anyone indicated that the message you're sending with your site right now is not professional enough to, or up to snuff where you can win clients without having to show them your site? The reason I'm asking that question is because we all want to grow and get a lot of sites sold as fast as possible. And if we get bogged down spending a lot of time working on our own sites, you could run into a situation where you have I don't want to say wasted time, but you're spending your time on things that aren't necessarily making you money. I'm an advocate for putting your best foot forward and getting your brand situation under control. But I would say if you're less than 20 sites, focus on selling more sites first and then swing back around to that at that point in time to see what significant enhancements you can make to the site that will actually potentially drive more clients to you. My gut tells me whatever you do to the site is not going to have a super huge impact on more clients signing up with you right away. That's just my 2 cents. But as far as the logistics you asked about, can I just build a second site and then use the domain that I have for my marketing site on that new site? 100% yes. Okay, you would do exactly that. If you've built a site, you're like, all right, I'm ready to launch it. All you do is go to your old site, remove the URL from that site, save your changes, go to your new site, pop the URL in there, and your site's down for all of 10 seconds, and then you're in business. So it's very easy to update your site with a new site. Easy to update your domain with a new site. All right, Venkat was nice enough to submit his question ahead of time. Venkat says, can we add inventory count? So once the threshold is reached, the product cannot be added to cart. So this is an e-commerce question. Specifically, Venkat's talking about when you are selling stuff on the website, which you can do with our e-commerce functionality. I'll quickly show you what that looks like. For those of you who have not checked out the e-commerce feature, Don't until you have at least 10 website clients. That's just kind of like my rule of thumb. Like, don't go chasing down those e-commerce clients until you've established yourself with at least 10 or so informational lead generating websites. Then you could talk about e-commerce. But basically what he's saying is like, look, I have limited inventory of a particular thing. I don't want to let people add it to their cart because I don't have that many of them. So the truth of it is that we don't have a functionality for that. However, it is on the roadmap as something that we would like to implement. It gets a little bit tricky because, like technically in the moment that someone adds the last one of an item to the cart, what happens then, right? Are we not going to let someone else who's ready to check out right now add it to their cart and buy it? Whether probably add some sort of like timer on the shopping cart so that if they don't take action and check out, the inventory will be put back into the main pool where someone else can buy that and it gets removed from their cart. So there is a lot of heavy lifting there. It's not as simple as it sounds, but we do have it on the roadmap nonetheless. Next question up is from Ken. Ken is saying, how do I add Calendly to a website? So what is Ken talking about? Calendly is an appointment booking software that allows someone who comes to a website to pick a time and a day, lock in their information, and basically secure time on the business's calendar. So that is something you can do relatively quickly and easily using the Calendly integration. I just want to quickly show you what that looks like. So, all right. So and I'll answer your second question in just a second, Ken. From, what am I saying? Calendly. So let me see if I could show you real quick. So when you guys were just leads in our system, okay? Is this the link? All right. So when you guys were leads in our system, you may have come across a link that looks like this, where you had an opportunity to book a call with one of our sales agents, and you chose the type of meeting you want. And then when you did that, you would get the opportunity to choose from a calendar days and times that are available to you. You can book the call, and when you do, choose the time, put in your deets, and then you're good to go. This whole experience of selecting a time, securing it, booking it, etc., can happen inside of a website by simply taking the embed code associated with this and popping it into a site, your client site. So exactly how do you do that? We have an article on it. If you go to support.siteswan.com and type in Calendly, you're going to see right here is an article that specifically talks about how you're going to add the calendar to your site. We show you step by step with some animated GIFs, tell you how to do it. You're going to use the HTML post type. So just to remind you what that's like, if I go to any of my sites and I click into it, you can add a widget of HTML, which is what Sammy did for his custom form. Add new section. HTML is right over here. And then you're going to take the code from Calendly, edit this, paste it into this box where all this code currently is. Just delete all this. Say, get out of here. Post in the code from Calendly, click save. And now the embedded option to let people book a call is on the site. So cool. There's another application as well that we do have an article on called Schedulista. I happen to prefer Calendly at this moment in time, which is obviously where Ken's mind was as well. Ken's second question was about phone support. He's saying, hey, how come I can't just call you guys if I got a concern? So here's the deal, Ken. The truth is this. Lots of times when a support concern has come up, it's oftentimes not the first time and certainly won't be the last time you have that question. And why am I bringing that up? Because if we can put the answer to you in the written form, you will have a permanent record of that answer that you can't possibly forget because it's written down. That's number one. Number two, we can be a lot more thorough, and we can all at the same time be more succinct by taking the time to review the question in detail and getting you a proper response. Talking off the cuff, especially when we get a little bit on the tech side, can be tricky for us to convey ourselves most effectively. We're always working to improve the response times, but as it is right now, I don't think you guys are waiting more than a day at most to get a response from your tickets. Usually if the ticket comes in before, 3 o'clock or whatever, we're getting your response the same day. So we strive to give you the best possible experience with customer support as possible. On to our next question from Christy. Christy is saying, I listened to the great video you did with Bill Boone this week. He talked at length about adding. Okay, guys, Bill Boone. Let me just tell you, this is the video, by the way. I realized it wasn't visible on our YouTube. And I'm like, why is it that views? Such a great story. Check out this interview, please, if you have not already. We sent out an email, but please go check this out. Let me just enlarge this so you guys can see what I'm pointing at. All right, so on our YouTube, youtube.com/ for some reason at SiteSwan, I don't know. Anyway, this video here is dynamite. Bill has built up a business $6,200 a month, and that's only on 20-something websites. Do the math, folks. He's selling these sites and additional services for a lot. And I just got an email from Bill yesterday. Bill, you on today by any chance? Let's see. Bill, Mr. Boone. I don't think he'll mind me sharing this because he was so forthright with everything that he's shared thus far, which is actually, something I really appreciate in all of you guys. When you're honest and straightforward and tell us what is actually occurring in your web design business, it helps everybody. It helps us have a better understanding about what you're going through, helps everyone else who will attend sessions like this understand what everyone else is going through. That's super, super important. So the message that Bill sent to me yesterday was, where is it? I want to read it word for word. I am now at 10K per month and growing. We published this, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? We recorded it this year. He has already increased another 50% to 10 grand a month. Wow. Bill is killing it. And it's something each and every one of you guys can do as well. Each and every one of you can do exactly what he's doing. Watch the video, learn from Bill. You will get some insights that you'll be so glad you took the time to do it. Okay? Promise me you'll do that. Anyway, what was the question? He talked at length about adding alt tag text to images for SEO purposes. How do you accomplish this on the SiteSwan editor? Or must you go into No, don't go into HTML somehow. And how important is this as a layer of SEO? Okay, so what are alt tags? Let's start there. Alt tags are basically, if I hover over an image on a site, and this is not an image. Let's see if I do this one. YouTube doesn't even have alt tags. Basically what happens when I hover over an image, an alt tag can pop up that will give me some legible, descriptive text about this image. That alt text is actually read by the search engines. It is referenced because even with AI, the search engines can't analyze an image as good as they can analyze text. So by giving visual images some textual context, you will find that the search engines will favor some of the images and the content on your client sites. So it's a nice thing to do. Is it totally, totally critical? No. I've seen lots of sites perform exceptionally well without alt tags. But if you want to add alt tags, let's show you how to do it. So if I'm on a site and I want to add alt tags to it, here's what I could do. Let's go to, this is an ugly site I've managed to screw up. All right, so I'm going to click on edit for this post, and then I'm going to replace my image, but I'm not really going to replace it. I'm just accessing my library. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the image that's being used. How do I know it's it? It's got an orange outline and a check mark. A little hard to see because it's an orange image, but that's it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge it. And when I enlarge it, I can add a caption. Now a caption is also, I think, to a certain degree helpful when it comes to SEO, but a caption is going to Be most useful if I enlarge this image, a caption will appear underneath it. The alt tag, however, this is used to describe the image and is oftentimes, it's technically invisible to the user unless you are analyzing the image or keeping your mouse hovered over it, and it'll show some alt tag text. So just to give you a quick example, if I say this is, and we even have like pre-written alt tag text based on the image information. So what I would like to do actually is include some details about this business in the alt tag. So concrete pouring by, what's the name of this? A Marasco ready mix in whatever town this is, Philadelphia. All right. Why not? Sprinkle it with some SEO terminology and click save. And there you go. So now this image is alt tagged with this information, and that's going to help the search engines. So that is good to go. That's how you do it. Can it help? Yes. Do you need to do it? No. But hey, if you got a couple seconds, you want to go and do this for each of your images, I don't think you will regret doing it. I'll say that. Christy also said, would you recommend the concept of listing a price range rather than a specific rate? We looked up a local competitor who was critical of the concept of firms like ours that use templates. Oh, too bad. And charge a specific fee that's only a few $100s. So, all right. There's nothing wrong with doing a price range. But if you have a highly competitive price, why not just come out and say it? Because that becomes a true selling point of your service, is your highly competitive price point. So if you're not ready to start having a sliding scale of pricing, then just feature the one and only price that you have for the setup fee. If you are going to if you get like a lot of e-commerce inquiries and you're comfortable and you're accustomed to charging more for those sites, which you should, then either you list that out separately. Hey, if you need e-commerce, it costs this much. Or you can say, prices range from $99 to $199 depending on the needs of the website. But if you're trying to win people's hearts and minds who just happen to stumble across you or referred to you by somebody else, the more specific your pricing is, the better it is for people to understand what your deal is. As far as this whole local competitor who is critical of the concept of firms like ours that use templates, I'm curious, did you just see them say this or did someone else say it to you? Because the idea of templates is what's going to make a small business tickled pink with the idea that they can get a beautiful, stunning website for their business that's going to shine in local search results that costs far less than what the other folks are charging. And don't let that bother you, basically. Christy also said, I could do this where it's not in my face. But actually, it's easy to read like this. All right. The next question that we got is also from Christy, and she says, we have a client who's showing up in most Google Bing searches when you search woodworker in Hamilton County, but when you search woodworker near me, he doesn't pop up. What do you know about the near me searches and how to help get clients listed more prominently in these types of searches? So I'm going to type this in to see what I find. I haven't done this before, so I have no idea what I'm going to find. I have a theory that I am going to share with you after I can hopefully prove it. All right. Woodworker in Hamilton County. Is this by any chance, or is this by any chance the site? Is it one of these? This looks like it. Look at that. First page search results. Go and sell this person the site too. All right. So that's great that they appear there. Let's just check out one thing. All right. I have your answer. I keep doing this with my screen. You guys can't see what I'm looking at. I'm so sorry. So this is the homepage design, Johnson Woodworking. So I have my answer, why I think this is happening. Okay. Number one is this. Near me, unless you are physically near the business, you can't expect near me to work for them. So depending on where specifically that's being done, how good the cell reception connection is to a local tower will determine your ability to effectively have the near me search working for you. But there are two other things. The first is that there is no physical address on this person's site. So Google doesn't know where exactly this business is located. So how can it possibly return them in a result for someone who's typing in near me? Google's like, I don't know, maybe. But we're not going to put them over there because we don't know. So I would encourage your client, he probably works from home, which is fine, but encourage him to still put his address. That's super, super important. In a very similar line, a similar string we're going to pull on. So typically, when we are doing a search for a small business industry like this, woodworker in, we will get Google Maps results. I'm just curious, does he have a Google Maps at all? Johnson Woodworking. Where did we say this was? Hamilton County. So normally, if he had a Google business profile, it'd be listed right over here. It'd be a little map icon. Oh, here it is. Is this him? Is it? I don't think so. No, this is somebody else. Okay. So what he needs is to have a Google business profile like this. And if he gets one, he should also put his physical address on here as well. Both of those things will help Google understand his physical location, and then near me searches will certainly have a much better chance of returning his site in the results. All right. This question came in, and I need clarity on this, if you wouldn't mind. Stephen, what is a good way to explain why an animated page and good copywriting is better for a services page compared to a slideshow? An animated page? Can you give me a little more context on this? Just write in the questions what you had in mind when you asked this. You with me, Stephen? Maybe Stephen, there he is. The page rolls in from left to right, for example. Oh, okay. Well, it's not so much about animations as it is about content. Okay. I don't care if you have animations turned on, if you have them turned off. What matters is you have text content and visual image content on the site. That's what's going to drive the attention and the search results to that particular site. A slideshow is just a series of images that's rotating. Images by themselves without context, without the textual accompaniment that spells out the services, that has those words that people are searching in Google, because we don't search for local businesses with images. We search for it with text. And that text needs to be on the site. So you mentioned, I don't think it's feasible based on what I know about the platform. I'm not sure what you meant by that. But I would say, given the option to include a slideshow versus given the option of slideshow versus images and text next to each other that clearly defines and describes what people are seeing on the site, super, super important. Tammy's back with her 50 sites with two questions. How do you get those small sections between regular sections? The descriptive one. Tammy, I got no idea what you're talking about. I read this before and I'm like, I don't know. Small sections between regular sections, the descriptive one. I don't know. Maybe you can clarify that. I'll go into the second one. When I cancel an account but leave it live, if I leave it that way for, say, 2 months, when I reinstate it, will the credit card on the file still be active? As long as they didn't cancel it, yes. So we do not delete credit cards from the client billing section. That would be something you'd have to do yourself. So if I was ever charging first line appraisals for their site, I would see the credit card here, even though they've canceled or whatever the case may be. So that hopefully will answer your question. Tammy clarified and said the small little sections that flow to the next section. So we call these post transitions. Post transitions are like these things, right? Like this is like, torn paper. And they are purely decorative, and they're designed to just make a visual, it's tickling your eyeballs, basically. And these are available on a lot of our themes, and it's just an image. That's all it is. It's an image post that is full width, where one side of it has a color that aligns with the post underneath, and the other side is transparent. You can pull these images from any of our themes. Like if you like one of the post transition images you see, here's what you could do. You can just go to Edit, go to Replace Image, it opens the image library, find the image that's being used. Here it is. You can zoom in on it and then download this image. So now this image of this white, looks like papered edge, you can download to your computer and then use it somewhere else on a different site. And all you're going to do to use it, so to speak, is, and you can just see what this looks like, right? So this is an image post. So you're going to add an image post, okay? Let's take a look at what's happening. You have this image selected. There is no click action. There's no button. There's no anything else. On the Style tab, we are setting the background color to align with the background color of the post above it. We're using the exact same image as the post above it. We're setting it to parallax, just like the image above it. We are also going to match the overlay opacity of the post above it. And then for the layout, we're going to choose this one here, which we stretch it, fill the entire site width from left to right. You can also choose to animate these, and you're good to go. So all you're going to do is take the image post, upload this image, make it full width, have the background, the color overlay, align with the post that's above it, and you're in business. Now, we have an article on this as well. We call it Post Transitions, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't want to promise too much or tease too much, but we are in the process. We're actively working on having the, let me just see if I can find it. How to use row or post transitions right here. Here's the article you can look at. We have a step-by-step on how to go about doing that. We have to update the screenshot, don't we? Huh, look at that. For those of you who just came on in the last couple months, you're like, well, I don't recognize this at all. For everyone else, you're like, those were the days when we had this other image editor. Even this needs to be updated too. That's funny. All right, so this will kind of tell you what you have to do, save for a couple of updates to our editor that need to be applied. I will say this, we are actively working on a way to streamline this process of using post transitions. I'm not going to make any promises when you're going to see that, but we understand that it could be easier. So we're working on it and hope to have that for you as soon as possible. Mike is asking a question about the local prospecting tool, and he's saying, can the prospecting tool be changed so that when you download the leads, they all download at once instead of having to do it one page at a time? Also, could the page just display all the leads, please? So the answer to the question is no and no. I'll tell you why. So in the local prospecting tool, which if you guys haven't used this yet, do it now. I don't know. I'll do our hometown here. How about woodworking? All right. So what'll happen is you're going to get a list of businesses in and around this area. And what you're saying is, hey, how come when I download the CSV, it's only giving me page 1 results and not all the other pages? And here's the reason. The reason is because this data is extremely, extremely expensive. Not only that, but we are limited by how we can grab this data. We physically cannot, without breaking the terms of service with our providers, we cannot display more than 30. Is it 30 or 20? I think it's 25, between 20 and 30. 20. We physically cannot display more than these 20 at a time. So even when you're downloading these and exporting them, I'm sorry, you got to do it in chunks of 20. The good news is, though, that this is the type of thing where 20 can take you a long time to go through. So it's not like you're like, done, on to the next 20. Like, you click on a couple of these sites, you analyze them, it'll take you a minute. It's tough to just blow through, a couple hundred leads all in one shot. Sean is saying, I find that some of the phone numbers are not good. Is that normal? It's not normal. It's not normal for phone numbers to not be good. It is possible, however, that businesses, so a lot of things happen. Like businesses are notorious for leaving bad information online about them, despite the fact that they're able to and can oftentimes very easily update that information. People won't even change it on their own website, which is why people need new websites oftentimes. That and the fact that it's impossible to stay 100% up to date with all the business information across the entire world. So there's always going to be some kind of delay in some way, shape, or form in one corner of the universe where we don't have the most accurate data. Sammy chimed in with something that was interesting. I was just notified. I have been given a slot at my nephew's elementary school for a career day presentation, and I get to send promotional materials home with the kids. Hopefully I can get a website client or two out of this. That's awesome, Sammy. That is awesome. That reminds me. Did you guys know that we have a little something called the 14-day launch plan? It's in the resources section of your dashboard. And this right here, what Sammy just said, is a form of warm outreach. That's what Sammy's doing. He's doing warm outreach. So he's been invited to connect with someone, by someone that he knows, friends, family, associates, whatever, and is getting an opportunity to speak in front of a group, send promotional email home. That is awesome. The 14-day launch plan is your ticket to selling more sites faster. It's 3 phases: social outreach, warm outreach, and cold outreach. And if we tell you exactly what to do, what to say, what to post, everything, all the above. And we're doing a session on this next week. We just decided this yesterday. Next week on Friday, same time, we are going to have a session purely about the 14-day launch plan. Oftentimes we do get a little off topic, talk about some other stuff, but I don't want to encourage that. I want you to come with questions about selling more sites using the techniques that we outlined for you. And I want you to, if you have not yet, I want you to prepare for this chat next week by starting the 14-day launch plan if you have not already, or taking the next step in the launch plan you've been putting off before we get together next week. It's going to be super, super helpful. Okay? Now, some of you have been asking questions. Let me go check to see what my moderators are telling me I must answer right now. All righty. All right. Christina says, how do I add a box or put a QR code in? So I think you wrote in about this on support. I saw the ticket come through, and here's what I could say. QR codes are specifically designed for you to take your phone out, snap a picture of it, and take you to a website of some kind. I don't think I've ever seen a QR code on a website, because why not just put a link, right? If you're visiting a website, just put a link and it'll take you wherever you want to go. There's no need for a QR code. It's kind of unusual that you'll be with your phone and a screen where you're like, oh, let me take a picture of that on my screen to go to a thing that I can just click on instead. So unless the client has a very specific kind of purpose for that QR code, it does something very, very unique and special, then I'd love to hear that. But otherwise, it doesn't feel like something you really got to worry about. Steven says, if a prospect tells you he needs to think about it, how would you approach it? The presentation was given following the prescribed steps in the training. I mentioned the benefits of additional business to cover the costs. So it sounds like, Steven, you went through the entire homepage presentation exactly the way we recommend in lesson number 9, right? Right. Exactly how we recommend. And says he needs to think about it. There's a lot of different ways you can handle this, this concern. So oftentimes we need to think about it. It just, and you could actually say this. When I hear I need to think about it, it tells me that it doesn't feel to you like the value of what I'm proposing is in line with the pricing that I shared with you. Would you agree with that? People like agreeing, especially when you're kind of put in a power position. Would you say that the value that I'm presenting to you does not perfectly align with my price? If they say no, it's not a pricing issue. But if they say yes, then there you go. It's a pricing issue. 9.5 times out of 10, the reason why someone will say, I want to think about it, is purely because they want time to make themselves feel better about making a very fast decision about an expense over the phone. So they might. So if they say it's not the pricing, they'll probably go into another backup objection instead. Well, I just want to talk it over with so and so. Well, I just want to show it to this person. I just want to make sure that this person gets to look at it. So then that's kind of interesting because number one, that person should have been on this call if they were such an important person in the decision-making process. But what I like to say is this. I like to say, okay, I totally understand. It is important that your spouse, partner, neighbor, friend, cousin who's a website expert gets a look at this. Let me ask you this, though. You know this person quite well, right? Yes, of course I do. What do you think they would point out or object to when you show this to them? And what are they going to do? They're going to tell you what they actually object to. Or they'll just say, oh, no, I don't think anything. Okay. Well, look, the way we work things here is that, because you've talked it out now, the way we work things here is that I've put a lot of time and effort into this design, and purely because I need to make sure I protect my efforts, if I say goodbye to you without processing a credit card for your setup fee, I have to take the site offline. So I don't want to do that, but that is the way we operate simply because I got to protect my work. Now, if you give me the credit card, we process the setup fee, and then tomorrow or the next day or 2 days from now, you say to me, oh my God, I made the biggest mistake of my life and I do not want this site. I'm not happy with the direction this is going in. Give me my money back and I will give you your money back. Reduce the risk, because that's probably what this ultimately comes down to. They feel they're putting themselves at risk by giving you money for something that you have proven you're capable of doing, which sounds bonkers, right? It's like, well, I did something for them. I showed it to them. They clearly liked it, but they're not ready to make a decision now. You can use that technique to try and boil down to exactly what might be the real issue, because oftentimes the objection people give you in a sales conversation is not the real reason why they're not saying yes. You got to dig. You got to poke. You got to prod just gently, okay? All right. I probably should have read the entire thing. You followed up with the prospect told me he would call me on Monday or Tuesday. Look, if you want to wait and hope and pray and wish that he calls you on Monday or Tuesday, then fine. You got to have a lot of trust in him. He's going to do that. But otherwise, I would still leave off with, look, you want till Monday or Tuesday to think about this? You're the type of person who likes to sit on decisions, mull things over before they decide. I totally get that. I'm afraid you're going to have to do it without being able to see the website, though. Alternatively, I'll give you until Tuesday to change your mind, and you can get your money back. But in order to keep this site online, keep things going, I need to see you're interested enough by putting up the setup fee, and then we can continue forward. That was a long-winded answer. Hopefully that helped. Jen says, how do you create a transparent navigation so you can see the hero image on a site like this? And Jen sent us a link, and I'm going to show it to all of you. So look at how beautiful. I forgot we designed such a beautiful theme. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. So this technique is kind of fun to do because what we're doing is we're using the exact same image that is in our hero image in the site background. Site background. How does that work? Let me show you. So let's just say we wanted to do it for this site, okay? I'm going to trash this because that's not necessary. I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need that. And I'm going to get rid of this. We don't need that. Bum, ba-dum, ba-da-ba-da-bum. All right. This is not going to work perfectly because I don't think it's the perfect design for it, but I'll show you anyway. So first I want to do is see what kind of overlay I have on this. I go to my style and I see that I have an overlay of black at 31%, okay? Show you why that's important in 2 seconds. So I'm going to go to my site background. I already forgot what that number was. I think 31%. And I'm going to find the exact same image of that person. Don't know what this terminology is. Doing this with their whatever tool that's called. You can tell I do construction. And I'm going to do a, what's it called? So this is set to a couple things you have to remember, okay? We do want to set this to be full, this background image, okay? And we also want to make sure that the alignment is top center, if I'm not mistaken. All right, fine. Now let's go into our design header section. So in our header, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our style, and we are going to make our header color black, and then we're going to change our opacity to 31%. Bingo. Now you have a perfectly cohesive hero image and navigation area. What will you have to do to make this look right? My suggestion would probably be to change the color of the business name in this case to something that contrasts better with a dark color. And the same thing with the navigation. I would recommend going to design. I'm going to cancel out of this. I don't want to save it like this. But what you would do is you would go to design, and then you would go to colors, and then not here, sorry. You would go over here and then into fonts. And this is where you can modify the, no, that is where I was in the right spot. Why am I drawing a blank right now? What I'm supposed to be doing? Oh, Justin, you're so silly. All right, I'm blanking now. Why am I feel like a dunce right now? Jeez, it's a Friday, and let me tell you something. I've had this. You guys don't care about this, but I have a 10.5-year-old Great Dane, and she's having some issues. I'm not gonna say what they are. I've been up the entire night for the last 3 nights. I feel like I have a puppy again, but in the wrong ways. So I'm a little bit short on cognitive function at the moment. I'm surprised I'm answering questions without slurring my speech. What you're going to want to do is you want to change the navigation color so that it's not black, the same general color as the background. It's always going to have contrast. Let's talk about contrast. So what a lot of people don't realize is that the reason why some text on some background images are not inherently clear is because the color of the text is too similar to the color of the background. So if I have anything that appears dark in nature, I tend to go with a white text. If I have anything that's light in nature, I always go with a dark text. That's good contrast. I rarely will use will go and use colors for text that is much different than black and white. The scenarios where we tend to do that on our themes will be like over here. We'll use one of the brand colors to accentuate or accompany the title text. And then you can do that. So back to what I was saying. If you want to modify the navigation color, you'll simply just go to the style tab of your header editor, because that's very simple. And you would change this to any color you want that would obviously contrast with the dark background of the header. Long-winded response once again. Thank you for your patience as I dealt with that. Let's see. Michelle, I have a couple leads for real estate agents. They want IDX websites. That's where the client can search current homes in the agent's MLS. Is that something that we can be done? Short answer, no. The IDX is a monster of code that you have to be able to accompany. So for those of you who don't know, you might hear this come up. Let me educate you all real quick. IDX is a type of file or code that is specifically for the real estate industry. And what it does is it gives a site Trulia or Zillow-like functionality, where you can search by number of bedrooms, bathrooms, all this stuff, and then get listings, and then dial into a listing and see the slideshow, and then all this stuff. A lot of heavy lifting associated with that. It's never an easy task. We don't support IDX for the reason that it just makes things a lot more complex. However, you will probably find that the typical the typical realtor is really focusing, they really want their site to just perform well for people who are looking to buy or sell a home in the area. They don't care that the site consists of content associated with homes for sale. What they do care is that they can be found initially in a search result. Because let's be honest, people use Trulia and Zillow and Redfin and all that stuff a heck of a lot more than they will a local realtor website. If you want to feature listings for that realtor on the site, then just put a big fat button that says view listings and you're done. Generally, a realtor will primarily just want to see their listings on their site. And as you can see with our realtor themes, we allow for that. So we allow for you to just do these one-off listings. So a typical realtor might not have more than, let's say, a dozen listings at any given time. And those can be very easily added to the site. We have this little featured properties thing. You can do a real simple version of this just to get people's attention. And of course, they can contact you for more details. This is not what's driving people to find the site in local search. This is the stuff that is driving people to find this business or this realtor in local search. Next question, Ed. Does SiteSwan automatically compress images to ensure fast load time? Or should we be creating images at a specific size before uploading? The answer is yes, Ed. We do automatically compress images to ensure fast load time. You don't have to worry about sizing down images before you upload them. Sean's saying, I've yet to get a client. So frustrating. I even hired a VA to make cold calls along with what I do. So it sounds to me, Sean, I can't say this for certain, but it sounds like perhaps you might have skipped over some steps in the launch plan. So I would like to know if you have taken the time to do your social media outreach and your warm outreach before you started doing cold calling. Cold calling can be very effective, but I will say this about hiring a virtual assistant. Do the work first before you hire someone. It's important for you to understand what the process is actually like because you won't know how much you value the VA until you've done it yourself, or you're actually replacing services you've done. So that is something that you're going to want to do yourself first. But before you even get to cold calling, do the social outreach, do the warm outreach. The majority of our clients tell us in the 14-day launch plan that they will secure at least a couple of clients from those two phases before they sign a deal from a cold call. Ryan is saying, can you give a really solid response to someone asking if they'll own everything? This did come up. So sure. There's a bunch of different ways to answer this. I'll try and give you my most succinct and not go on for 10 minutes. Someone saying, will I own everything about the site? My response is it's almost impossible for you to own everything because behind the scenes on the site is a content management system that allows you, if you like, to make quick and easy updates to the site. The website is going to be contingent on that platform being in place. If I were to go and structure the HTML for a site and then give it to you all in a zip folder or something like that you went to install somewhere, you'd run into a very big problem of needing to update it on a regular basis when all the latest browsers and operating systems and tablets and smartphones hit the market. A site is like a living organism. It needs to constantly evolve and grow and modify and adapt to its environment being the World Wide Web. If you put something out there and never think about it again because you own it, you will run into a problem with that site not working in the future, perhaps the very near future. What I would like to do a follow-up question. What is it about owning everything about the site that is desirable to you? There's lots of people who will rent an apartment, lease a vehicle. Those are things they don't own, but they are perfectly happy doing that because they're paying less upfront. There's less of a commitment. There's less maintenance. There's less overhead ultimately. And you can just rely on a local professional to do all that stuff for you, which is you, Ryan. All right. I'm being told by my moderators I did not effectively show how to make the site background here image shine through into the header. I thought I did, but let me go back and do it. So one more time for the folks in the back. I have a hero image post, and if I click on edit, you will see in the style tab There's an overlay color of 000, which is black. The opacity is set to 31%. I'm going to mimic that. If I go to design, site background, this image is here. I just uploaded this a couple minutes ago, okay? It's here, fine. We go to our header controls, and now what I'm going to do, in my style tab, I'm going to make my header color black, and I'm going to make my header opacity 31%, which matches what this hero image has. And now I have made my navigation header area and my hero image look cohesive as one. The thing I was pointing out to you before is that you're probably going to want to modify the navigation color right over here to something brighter so it pops. And you also will probably want to modify the business name text because this dark blue does not contrast very well with this background. And you are in business. But again, I'm not going to say this because I don't know why. What else you got for me before we wrap up here? We're coming up on an hour. Matest Web. How often should you continue to attempt to cold call a prospect that does not answer the phone? Doesn't answer the phone. Can you imagine that? A business not answering the phone? Something tells me they don't care about their business very much if they're not answering the phone. Maybe move on. Okay. Similarly, when conducting cold calls, if prospects don't answer, should leave a voicemail message, send a text, and an email. Yeah, all those things are perfectly fine. Leaving a voicemail, sending a text, I support all of that. No problem there. What else can I answer? Before I get into that, I want you to all take a quick moment. Do me a favor and post one key takeaway. What's one thing that someone asked, something you heard, something you saw that you are going to take with you and either try to implement or keep in the back of your brain for next time? One key takeaway, if you could please post it. This way I know what to focus more on next time. One key takeaway, anything you got. What stuck out to you during this conversation? Sean says to follow the 14-day launch plan. Right on. 100%. Mike appreciated the alt tags. Ken says just to be like Tammy. Tammy says, love what you just showed. Oh, yeah, combining these two. That is pretty cool. Sammy says, making sure clients have a Google business profile, which is something you can charge for, by the way. Okay. You can absolutely charge for setting up their Google business profile, optimizing it if you like, all that fun stuff is things you can charge for. Steven says, follow the 14-day launch plan, and alt tags stuck out to Steven. Kevin appreciates the header transitioning into the hero image. Ernie appreciates being able to transfer domain names to another site. It's so simple. It is so simple. Again, build a new site, take the domain from the old site, put it onto the new site, you're done. Because the domain's already pointed to the new site, to SiteSwan. So as long as that domain is functioning on any SiteSwan site, by just simply moving it from one site to another, the site will immediately work when you move it. All right, with that, I am going to stop right here, pretty much on the dot of 1 hour. You all, I applaud you for doing this. You care about your business, you care about your future, you care about learning more. And when we are adding stuff to our memory banks and to our minds, we are growing. And Fridays are sometimes a point in the week where we tend to just kind of cut out early or take a little break or, put off until Monday. I want you to take some time to put in some work today. Go to that 14-day launch plan. Do the social outreach. Do some more warm outreach. Make some connections today. Set up some connections for the weekend, perhaps. Finalize that site that you're about to launch. Get that thing off the ground. You all have this in you to build a recurring revenue stream, just like Bill Boone did. He's up to $10,000 right now. I love it. Watch this video, learn from him, watch Tammy's video, learn from her. One website at a time, folks. You got this. Have a great rest of your Friday, a very nice weekend, the rest of your February, as a matter of fact. Today's the last day. Go make some stuff happen. Thank you all so much for doing this. See you next time. Which, by the way, I think is in 2 weeks. So look out for that. See ya.